Deep Sky Clock event closing.
Stars are whispering tales of old, spinning stories bold. Life is dancing through the night, countless worlds in the starlight. Galaxies full of mystery, infinite in their history, beyond our dreams and our sights. Life blooms in the cosmic lights, dancing on the edge of space. Take me away, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night. Nebulas with colors bright, birth new wonders in the light. Comets trail their sparkling tears, life endures through the years. In the silence of the void, every heartbeat is enjoyed. From the depths and to the heights, life expands through cosmic night. Dancing on the edge of space, and off we go, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night. Dancing on the edge of space, and off we go, feeling the universal grace. In the dark our hearts ignite, life across the endless night.
And good evening to everybody. Welcome to the Skytour live stream. It is me, Mark D'Antonio, here with you once again. And I'm hoping to bring you a night of Galaxies and a couple of nebulae before they go away for the season. Nebula, that is. Daryl is under the weather again. And I just talked to him a few minutes ago. He sounds fine, but he can't taste anything, and he's, probably looking at that silly COVID thing. Maybe. Not sure. I'm doing a focus run here, which you can see on the screen. There we go. We got our focus point. That's what that center spot is. And we are about to recenter the focuser. As you'll see, there it goes. All the way over to the right. And then it comes back and we'll lock into the center. And there we go. And now we're focused. So what I thought I would do first, before we do anything else, is take a look at this object here. You can see it up there. It's kind of looking fuzzy. That's like a fuzzy object there. And that's a nebula that we have only looked at a couple times, but we're going to look at it again tonight and just see if maybe we can pull a little more detail out of it, because the last time we looked at it, I think we had the moon out, and that's just never good. The moon doesn't allow us to see too much sometimes. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and it is a night where we're going to explore some galaxies and then check out some of the other sights of the sky coming up for the springtime. Virgo is coming up as well, and that's really pretty. Okay, so this is our starting point. Now, we still have a sunset out there, and if we go to the other telescope, which I've also got open, I can bring up our all-sky image, and you can see this is the bright sky right now, the bright sunset. And so it's still not quite dark out there in the Sonoran Desert, and just 200 miles away is this telescope. And even though it's not even dark, we can still see the nebulae because we have some very nice filters that allow us to literally get rid of a lot of that light. They're actually tuned to getting rid of moonlight. Now, moonlight many times looks blue around the moon because the moon is doing to our sky the same thing that the sun does with its light to our sky during the day. The only difference is the moonlight is reflecting sunlight back to the Earth, and the molecules in our atmosphere are scattering the blue component of that light coming to us from the moon. And that's why we see a little bit of blue sky around the full moon at night when it's high in the sky. So it's not nearly as bright as the sun, so it's only a mild blue, but you do end up seeing a blue sky nonetheless. It's kind of fascinating because that scattering, that blue light thing that we see, is something that we see all throughout the universe, and we see it with reflection nebulae around, like the Pleiades. They have that blue dust around them. Well, that blue dust is scattered blue light from the hot stars in the middle of the Pleiades. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. I'm going to try and do a exposure here. We'll make this one 15 seconds, and we'll see if we have. It's going to have like a red haze to it because it's going to be stuck with a little bit of that sunset light. But we'll go into our deep sky mode anyway and see how early we are for doing night photography tonight. Alright, I also have to, okay, not so bad. Actually, a little red. You can see red all throughout. This is the Skull and Crossbones Nebula. Now, we're going to bring up one other guiding program here. I just wanted to see if we could get it running here, and we did, and it won't do anything about acquiring another image until I have the guider running. It all works together. Okay, so now we'll get some stars. There we go, and let's see if I can auto-select some stars to guide on. Yeah. Okay, so now we're guiding, and this is going to be, should be a good set of images. We got that star, 1, 2, we got several. Okay, so here is the Skull and Crossbones Nebula, and we're going to let this continue guiding over here. Alright, the Skull and Crossbones Nebula, and why is it called the Skull and Crossbones? Well, I don't know, I think because maybe this looks like a skull with a skull here with 2 eye sockets, and maybe this looks like a X for crossbones or something. Not sure. Let's color correct this a little bit, and that'll change the colors more realistic. There we go. And then we'll stretch out our histogram. These curves here are red, green, and blue for the 3 different colors within the sensor that we use. And you'll notice that the red, green, and blue are lined up under each other. That's good. The white is the average curve. This white curve is the average curve. This is our black level. If I move it to the left, we get more of the sky color induced in, and that's why it looks like it's sort of lower contrast. We want to climb up and make the black level as dark as we want. As long as we don't pass that peak, we won't lose any of the detail. Then this guy here, we bring this up to here, and it's called a push. And you see how grainy that looks? That
Deep
doesn't
Sky
look that
Clock
good.
event.
It doesn't look really that good at all. But if we pull it down here, then we can actually we can mitigate some of that noise. And look, now you can see some more detail in here that was missing before. Right? Now, we also have an annotation feature that we'll often use. This annotation feature allows us to identify objects in our view, and we're going to set this as a target name. This is NGC 2467. It's also known as the Skull and Crossbones Nebula. And that target name will appear up here in the target name field, and when I use that, we will be able to save it to our server that way, so you can look for it and go download all these images that I'm showing you now. So I just saved this annotation image. It looks like this. I'll bring it up. Okay, that's what you get. It's on the server live. That'll be what you get. Okay, that'll be up there in about 15 seconds if it's not already there. Here is our telescope here. Here is the notional view of it. We can rotate that around so we can actually see what's going on with the telescope. And then this is our control. But that's actually something that we use. We use this one very rarely. Okay, which is right behind me here. I use it only if I need to do some type of a emergency stop for some reason. But so far we're looking good. All right. So Skull and Crossbones coming up, and now if we go and look at our, while we're waiting for this to come up, if we go back and look here, you can see that the sky is getting a little darker on this horizon. It was bright out to here a little earlier. We can check our constellations and see which ones are up. Okay, this telescope's actually up and running too. I actually have it running, and so for instance, as it gets darker, we'll be able to see out into here. All right, right now we're looking at the Skull and Crossbones, which is, it's down here actually. It's a little bit down here. It's a little bit out of the view down there, and that's okay. Now, what I'll do is bring us back to here. All right, and I think that it's kind of fun to check this out because it's neat watching how this beautiful image just grows. It just builds automatically, and it's so cool how it builds. You know, it's just so cool. So let's see now if we can get this to look even better. Alright, let me try and do a little bit of processing here. Pull this in a little. Yeah, see the faint stuff in here now coming out? That's cool. In our enhancement, we got the color noise filter on, which is good. Without it, watch how it looks. It looks rougher without it. Check this out. See how it looks kind of muddy all in here? We had the color noise filter. We immediately get a cleaner view. It's subtracting out really bad pixels. Okay. Then we have an unsharp mask. This is a sharpening tool. If you look inside the detail here, like this right here, check this out. See that right there? Okay. Now watch as I hit the unsharp mask. Watch this area. Okay. This area now gets more fine definition. You can actually see some of the finer definition in here. It's subtle, but as the image builds and as we get rid of more and more noise, it becomes a phenomenal looking object, right? So that's pretty cool. I'm really I'm liking that. I want to say hi to everybody that's here, and I want to say Happy Easter to those that celebrate Easter. I want to say hi. Ray was the first one here. Good to see you, Ray. The Goblin showed up next, and Sarge and Kevin from Vancouver. That's cool. All the way across the country. I'm in Connecticut, actually, controlling the telescope 2,500 miles away in Arizona. And I'm controlling both of them. We got this one and that one. Okay. And we have CND Boy. How you doing? Tim F. Let's see who else is here. Daisy and Zoe Amethyst are with us. That's nice to see you guys. And we have Nick the Saint. How are you, man? Nicholas Present from Los Angeles, California. Hey, Nick. It's good to see you. I'll be out there end of May, I'm actually going to Palm Springs. I'll be doing 7 talks at a conference out there called Contact in the Desert. And that's from May 29th to June 2nd. I'm doing 2 sky watches with good friend Ben Hansen. And I'll also be doing a bunch of lectures, one of which is one of my most favorite, one of the most favored lectures, I guess, that people want to see. And I'll tell you more about that. So, and we also have Sam S. here tonight. Good for you. Good to see you, brother. Happy Easter if you observe it. Same to you. Tony Lowe, Kevin O'Neill, Trish Ferreira. Hi, Trish. How are you? Nice to see you. Sally Forth is with us. How you doing? And so tonight is right now. It looks like a pretty good night. It seems like we're getting some good views right now, and I'm very happy about that. Again, this is the nebula called NGC 2467, or the Skull and Crossbones. You can sort of see eye sockets, a skull, and the jaw, and the crossbones. So it's sort of the skull and crossbones. Now, that's not the only way you see the skull and crossbones. And skull and crossbones is a name that's known as it's sort of a colloquial name. It's not the actual name. The actual name is New General Catalog number 2467. But what's more interesting? Yeah, you know the drill. What's more interesting is to have it named something that's actually cool, and that's what this is all about, and that's kind of cool. So we're happy to support it. Okay, Skull and Crossbones. Now let's see. We have. Let's see now. I got a couple other things. We're gonna let this just develop a little bit more. We've got 36 images. That's good. You see the detail in here. Forming. That's gorgeous up in there. Look at these wisps. Really nice. We can zoom in a little on this now. Actually, why don't I do this? Why don't I take this out of here? Okay. Okay, like that. And let's get rid of the telescope for now. And let's just check this out. I'll leave that telescope up just so we can see that. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see really nice detail in there now. Here's what's interesting about this. We're looking live at the universe. We're seeing these hot stars in the middle of this cluster ionizing gas that's around them. And there's dust in here too, and that's this dark stuff you see. And this dust is being silhouetted by the bright glowing nebula behind it. That's actually glowing. It's not reflecting light. It's glowing. And it's giant sections of hydrogen gas in here whose electron has been bounced off the atom, and then that electron will spontaneously come back into the atom, giving off the energy that it absorbed to leave the atom. And when it gives off that energy as it comes back in, that's a characteristic color that it gives off when it does that, and that color is red. We call it hydrogen alpha, or H2, Roman numeral 2. And so we see that here. And then we also have other processes going on here. We may have some oxygen that is actually ionized in here. That makes sort of a teal blue color. Sometimes it's faint because it's low dense. And if it's low density, we may not see it so teal color. All right, but it certainly is silhouetting the dark, this dark stuff, which sits in front of it. So that's up here, and the nebula is back here. Okay, so it's literally silhouetting it from being in front of it, and that's pretty neat. All right, we'll let that build a couple more seconds, a few more minutes, I should say. And I can come in and just check our stack and see where we are. Go to our histogram or our curve adjustment layer here. I'm going to back this off just a little bit, like that. And as I pull out, it will just drop away. Here we go. That's pretty. That's a gorgeous nebula. What do you think, huh? I think that's pretty neat. Oh yeah. It was 80 degrees here in Connecticut today. Pretty nice. Actually quite nice. Alright. Do a few more of these and then we'll be back with you in a minute. Yeah. So this nebula is actually oh gosh, I have to look up and see how far away it is. I think that's interesting. Let's go check out how far it is. And we do that by coming in here. We are selecting it. Its distance is 3,262 light years away. You're seeing this as it was 3,200 years ago. Can you imagine that? You know what I'd like to do is I like to think about what was going on Earth back when the light that we're seeing right at this instant left this nebula and started its journey through space. Isn't that interesting? Now I'm going to tell you something else, which is going to hurt your brains. Okay, this is definitely going to hurt your brains. When light leaves the nebula, all right, like this one here, when light leaves this nebula, it wings its way to us, and it takes 3,262 years to get here. And you might think, man, if a photon was alive, would it get bored? And the answer is kind of strange and kind of difficult to understand. But you have to take my word for it. If you're the photon of light leaving that nebula, coming to the Earth, from your perspective, how long does it take you to get here? You're traveling at light speed now. So if we look into time dilation and how long it takes for things to move places, and if you look at it from the reference frame of the photon, and the word reference frame, very important pair of words. From the photon's point of view, when it leaves the nebula to come to the Earth, from its point of view, it's here instantly. Okay? It's here instantly. So photons can go everywhere at once in the universe from their perspective. From our perspective, light travels at a certain speed, and we've actually, believe it or not, captured light moving through a liquid and captured it propagating through a liquid. You need an extremely fast camera to do that. But those cameras exist, and we've done that. And we can actually see the light propagating. Or from the light's point of view, there's no propagation going on. You know, it's just there. When it goes somewhere, it goes from one place to another, and it's instantly there. That is thanks to something called relativity. Again, it's an Einsteinian concept. There's special relativity and there's general relativity. And we all are familiar with the equation E equals mc squared. I'm a nerd, so I have an E equals mc squared shirt with all kinds of ancillary equations on it. When I go flying places, I wear my equation shirt all over the place. It's just like, people go, "Oh, what's that equation?" Oh, that's just a identity, a mathematical identity equation or whatever. But the point being, the equals mc squared seems like a simple equation, but that's the equation as it breaks down for objects moving less than the speed of light. The full equation is actually longer than that and has another term in it, and that's something you're not familiar with. And it has to do with the other term includes the Planck constant and the speed of light. H, Planck constant, is Planck constant. And so it drops out when things move less than the speed of light, but at the speed of light, the mc squared goes away, and you have only the Planck constant at the speed of light. So it's actually kind of interesting how that works. And it's just interesting to see how it all drops out, you know. It's neat stuff. Stratagem, how are you? Stratagem says, light are small packages or moments frozen in time traveling across the universe. From their perspective, they go from point A to point B in an instant. That is correct. Right? So the passage of time doesn't exist for a photon. Now that's kind of hard for our minds to grasp because we live in 4 dimensions, X, Y, and Z moving through time. And those 4 dimensions depend on time. At one point we're at X, Y, and Z coordinate 1, and at the next point in time we're at X, Y, and Z coordinate 2. And for a photon though, its X, Y, and Z is never one value. It's all values at once. And that's sort of difficult to accept, but that's just what it is. Oh, we had a satellite pass through our 2 satellites. Look at that. Yeah, they definitely wanted to photobomb us. They're like, haha, young guy taking a picture of the skull and crossbones. No, sir. Not without me ruining it for you. Now, what's interesting is those might have been 2 Starlink satellites, one with a slightly precessed orbit. But if you notice, they're exactly parallel, which is very interesting. That's what you would expect. Okay, so we'll be done with this here shortly.
Deep Sky Clock event closing.
And the reason that we're taking a picture of this right now is because I'm just letting it get darker. I will do a color correction here to get rid of any of the red sunset, and you can see that does pull the red sunset light out. And now what I can do is bring this value, if I bring it down, it'll soften it and allow you to see it with less noise, okay, but less detail. And if we pull it up, it's called a push, you'll see that there's a lot of detail that's hidden back there, like up in here, that's now coming out. Okay, so if I put it back down here, okay, and then I use this over processing right here, you get to see a little bit more of what's in there kind of instantly, and then you can get rid of it. There you go. Yeah, that's it. That's really pretty. So we'll be back to that in just a second. Let that just do its thing. And while we're waiting, I'm going to make sure. Now, in the left, in the Sonoran telescope, this is Sirius, the dog star, which is sitting there, and that's sort of our waypoint. All right, and if we bring up our planetarium here, you can see that it's almost setting. Orion is almost setting, so it's kind of going away. All right. Now, if we were to look for this nebula in this telescope, okay, let's see, GC 2467. All right, we go to it, we'll see that it's right about there. And if we say we're going to go to it now, we'll leave Sirius behind. You can see the telescope over my head starting to move. Now we come in here, and there it is. Okay, I'll show you the difference in the field sizes. So this is a wide field system that we've got here. We're looking at a field that's 3 full moons across and 2 full moons tall. You know? And this makes it really interesting. Okay, so now what we'll do is I'm going to move us a little bit, and move us to the west. just a bit. I'm going to actually change the speed here so we are where we need to be. Okay, I'll move us to the west a little bit. Okay, let's do this. Actually, I'll go this way. Okay. Alright. And what I need to do also is I need to do a critical focus of this telescope. There we go. We'll start up and do our critical focus algorithm. Get that to do it. Okay, meanwhile, we'll come back here and check this out. We're going to save this now. Alright, so we're saving the astronomical file format FITS. Okay, it's like flexible image transport. And then we're going to save it exactly as we see it here on the screen, complete with those satellites. And that's fine. Excuse me. It's nice to have you all here, by the way. Thank you for coming out. I really enjoy your company, and I enjoy very much that you enjoy this. Okay, I want to welcome Michael Hedrick with us. We have Matthias Christensen. How are you? Yes, he says space is so remarkable and ethereal. Absolutely, very much so. Very, very much so. When I got my degree in astronomy, I'm an astronomer, this is what we look like. I decided that I was going to try to bring this excitement to the many people that like it but don't really know a whole lot about it and would like to learn. And so that's what I do. I teach people astronomy, I teach people science. It's what I do. There's nerds like us out there, what can I say? So, that said, I'm going to say hi to Catherine Messick. Hi, Kathy. Dean Bussador is with us. Nice to see you. And Kevin says, silly question. Why do we see stars in the same place? Why do we see stars in the same place as ancient Egyptians and constellations? Well, actually, we see them in the same relative place, relative to each other. But not all stars are sitting in the same place. But keep in mind that they're so far away, and they're moving sometimes, hundreds or thousands of kilometers per second through space. But from our perspective, so far away, that movement takes tens of thousands of years to see for some of these stars. Okay. Now, I will say this: when you're looking at a constellation like Orion, we also have to understand that evolution of that constellation and those stars has taken place. For instance, Lucy, our hominid ancestor, all right, is 4.2 million years old. And 4.2 million years ago in Olduvai Gorge in Africa, when Lucy was out, Lucy looked up at the sky and looked up at Orion. Lucy would have seen something very different than what we see now. Okay, I'm pointing out how the universe changes. Betelgeuse, the red supergiant star in the upper left corner of Orion, the top left star, Betelgeuse is actually a star that has evolved. It's actually formerly a hot blue O star. Okay, it was a very hot blue O star, so it was a bright blue blazing beacon in the sky. And Orion's belt didn't exist like it does today. In Lucy's time, 4.2 million years ago, Orion's belt only had 2 stars in it. Okay, possibly 1, depending on the timing. So Orion didn't look much like it does now at all. So as the stars evolve, they change color, size, okay, and their types will change by our classification scheme. All right, so Betelgeuse became a red supergiant, and it became this red supergiant, several tens of thousands of years ago, maybe 100,000 years ago. And it's on the last stages of its life. And of course, stars aren't alive, but last stages of its existence. And so the point being that the star that we call Betelgeuse has been evolving, and it may already have gone supernova, and that supernova may have occurred already, but it had to, if it occurred, it had to occur just about less than 750 years ago, because Betelgeuse is about 750 light years away. So if the light with that supernova information in it hasn't reached us yet, well, we still see Betelgeuse shining in the sky normally. So that's how that works. It's pretty cool. All right. Now let's. While this is still cranking away here, I'll save it again. It's looking really good. The guiding is going very well right now. I'm going to save it exactly as seen one more time. I am going to also bring back our telescope here, slide that all over. Okay, and there we go. And then let's go to the other scope. There we are. This is skull and crossbones as seen from the other scope. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a 25-second photo of this. We did a 15-second photo in the other telescope. We're going to do 25 seconds here, and we'll get even more information. So it's underway. You can tell by looking at that yellow progress bar right here, down there, right near our Asterian Foundation support banner. Asterian is an amazing astronomical organization. They support astronomy public outreach, and they're really, really cool. And now I'm going to go into our low light thing here. And oh my gosh, Trisha! Holy cow! Oh, Trisha, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, you're making my night. Wow, thank you. Gosh, that is amazing. Thank you very much, Trisha. Holy cow! I almost said some bad words, but in a good way. So here is the whole nebula now. Right, this is what it looks like here. Gosh, thank you again. That's amazing. Oh man. Wow. Absolutely love it. Thank you, thank you. And so now with the wider field, you can see a little bit more of this nebula here. You can see that there's more over here. There's more down here. There goes another satellite the other way. Okay, so it expands. Now I'm going to actually pull this over a little more, and I'm gonna kind of give us just a little more detail in there. I'll darken up our dark sky, which without, wow, okay, you know what that was? Well, that was a very bright satellite. That could have been the International Space Station. That's why it's so bright. Now we're taking a 25-second photo. So in that time, it makes a streak through the image. Okay. So let's go now back to there and see. We're looking at, as you can now see, a small portion of this nebula, aren't we? We now know that there's more outside this nebula, more elsewhere. This field of view is skewed 90 degrees compared to this one. This one here. So we're working on that. We actually have a unit coming that's called a field rotator. And people like Trisha and these types of donations are what help us to get them. And the field rotators are $400 item, so we're actually going to use that to actually keep our field rotated so that this field and this field are identically rotated for us when we're looking at them. So you can see this area up here, okay, right here, all right, and then in here you can see that area is up here. So it's rotated weirdly. but that's okay. But you can see the other stuff. Now this color here, you can notice it's sort of that greenish blue. This here is oxygen, ionized oxygen that we've talked about before. Ionized hydrogen in higher density looks like this. Lower density looks looks what we call diffuse, more diffuse. Okay, and that's what we're seeing. I'm going to see if we can pull a little more detail out of this. Okay, yeah, look at that. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? And so this gives us the wide-angle view of this entire region. And that's why the two telescopes work well together. Because this one here is the wide field, and this one here is the narrow field. And they're 220 miles apart from each other out in Arizona. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm 2,500 miles from both of them. And so it took a couple years to get all this technology in place to kind of bring this to you kind of seamlessly like this. I mean, we switch back and forth effortlessly here between two telescopes, and so I can show you everything going on. Now, ideally, I'd like to show you both views in the same image, and I can do it, but the problem is that they would be so small relatively that you wouldn't really be able to get much out of it. So I show you the full thing here and show you the full thing there. And look how much smaller this the basic core of the nebula is here, and compared to the basic core of the nebula here is huge, because we have more focal length. We're magnified. We can't see in this one. We can't see the details that lie inside here very well. Okay, but here we see all the details. You can see a lot of the filamentary structure. We see tons of this dark cloud detail in here. Wow, this is
Deep
incredible.
Sky Clock event.
This is incredible stuff, you know. So that's looking at that. Now, as I said, we're checking this out now while we're waiting for the final sky to get dark. And right now, I think we've reached that. And as we wait a little longer, it allows us. We're allowed to get to the point where we can see the galaxies that are rising, which are very, very cool. And we're gonna check out some. I think this guy here. I think we'll save this. All right. So this is the skull and crossbones. We're saving it and save exactly as seen. If you want to get this image, go to skytourlive.org. Okay. Scroll down and where it says I want cool pictures. Follow the instructions and you'll get to the directory, the folder where you can now download this picture that we see right here. In fact, the very picture that you'll download is this one right here. This is what's going to be up there for you. That's yours to take, and it's free. All our images are free that we photograph on the night. If you want the processed images, fully processed, well then consider joining our Patreon. Okay, up here, and you can get our highly processed, finished images with more detail than the raw images here will show. Okay, and I think that those will help. If you want to just buy some cool stuff on cups and mugs and shoes even and so forth, bathing suits, you can come here and get nebula shoes, nebula mugs, nebula pads, and so forth, nebula sticky pads, all kinds of things. Many different kinds of products we have up there. Hats, t-shirts. I want to thank you, those that bought t-shirts in our t-shirt drive. That's fun. That was phenomenal. We have another t-shirt design that we're working on that we're going to unveil soon. I think you'll like it, and if you want another t-shirt from Sky Tour, you can build yourself a collection of Sky Tour Live t-shirts. And we're a non-profit organization. I make no money doing this, and that's not the idea. The idea is that you become more knowledgeable about astronomy, and I'm very happy about that. Asterion over here on the lower right, Asterion Foundation gave us an amazing grant to allow us to buy a spectrometer, so we could not only view this visually, but we could also turn around and say exactly what everything is that's in here. We can identify what it's made of, show you how it works. And surely the pretty pictures are wonderful, But knowing a little bit more about what is buried inside here, and it might be surprising because it's not just oxygen, it's not just hydrogen. There's other things in here too, and we'll catch them. And these are going to be emission. These are going to be spikes sticking up of stuff that's bright. Okay. When we look over here in this other image, okay, we see that happening here. Let me just do this a little bit to kind of brighten it up a little bit. I'll pull it out a little more so you can see this. Okay, so you can see this oxygen here, right? This dark rift in here, that's dark dust that's mixed with hydrogen. And if we bring this up a little more and push this and make some contrast between that and this, now you can see a little more of what's going on in there. We can overprocess momentarily just to see what's really there. Okay, make it a negative so you can actually see a little more detail what's there. This in astronomy we use negative inverted images quite a lot. It was a way to look at the stars in a better way for us. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. So it's pretty neat. Now, as far as this image here, this is 22 images, and target name, I will give you, I'll do the same thing I did with the other. Identify this object. There it is. Look how much smaller the circle is, right? I mean, that's the same circle at the same scale as the as when in this image here. Okay, so now I will make that the target name and save the image with annotations so that will also appear out there. And then I will save this one more time and then save it exactly as seen so you get the PNG file. If you want to try your hand at doing image processing, the FITS file, the FITS file, is there as well. So if you're into Photoshop or other products, you know, like PixInsight or products like that, then feel free to take it and enjoy your processing to your heart's content. Okay, now coming back here, I'm going to take us now to something different. First things first, I'm going to bring us back to what's called our home position. Okay, and I'll do that right here. Well, first things really first, I'm going to stop the guiding on this guy, okay, which is actually a beautiful guide. And then I'm going to get out of this mode and go back to our low light mode so we can see what's going on. Okay, so there it is there, and we are zoomed in a little, so I'm going to zoom out. There we are. And I'll say, let's fit the width. Okay. Alright. So now I'm going to have us go to a home position, and the telescope will leave this behind. You'll watch the telescope move around. You can see it doing so right up here. It's about 215 pounds of telescope moving around, going to a centralized position that I've asked it to do. And it's going to be pointing more or less toward the North Pole. Not quite exactly. And that's okay. Alright, so there we go. And now, what I want to do is I want to bring us to something else that we're on the opposite side of the sky now. So I'm going to spin this around. We're looking toward the north. You'll see as we turn around, you're going to see, hey, look, there is our view. And what I want to do is I want to take us out of the Little Dipper area and move us to the Big Dipper for a minute. And right down here in the Big Dipper, actually, we should go here first. I think this is it. Yes. Okay, this is a galaxy I want to check out with you. It's called Messier 81. So off we go. And you'll notice the telescope's not gonna, it's gonna move a little bit. Here it comes. Okay. All right, and I want to see if it can tell where it is right here. Doesn't always have to. Doesn't always have to find it. It doesn't. Sometimes doesn't. All right, so it knows where it is. What I want to do is find its position and then bring the galaxy into the middle. Those bands are just temporary. There's the galaxy. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is Messier 81. Now, it doesn't look like much. It looks like a fuzzy spot. This is kind of what it would look like in your telescope. Okay, to figure out what it's going to look like in a time exposure, well, that's what we're going to do next. So next, let's get our field, and let's grab a star. We'll grab the star if we can. All right. Okay, so now we'll guide on that star. And if we come back here now, we'll do a 25-second exposure on this and show you what hides in the universe. So here we go. This countdown timer's already started. It's starting to climb up there. And we'll come out of our low light mode and go into our live stack mode here. This is our deep sky mode. So 5 seconds left. Look at that beautiful galaxy. Look at that. Wow. Perfectly centered too. Okay, so here's the nucleus of the galaxy. You can see these beautiful spiral arms. And all you saw was this fuzzy spot. Okay? But as we take more images, this galaxy is going to look prettier and prettier and prettier because we're going to get rid of the noise that we see. Already we can start to see some dark lanes in this galaxy. Isn't this stunning? This is stunning. We'll let that grow a little bit here. Fantastic. Yes. And Dean Bussador says, who would have imagined a few years ago going online, watching beautiful live images, all the while having what we're looking at being explained fully in layman terms, mainly. LOL. Thank God. Oh, it's okay, Dean. This is very cool. I haven't gone into it trying to explain where the spiral arms come from. That would blow your brain up, I think, too. You know, it's as crazy as trying to explain what a photon experiences as it's traveling from one place to another. But it is true that galaxies' spiral arms, like these here, you notice they're blue. That's because there's hot blue young stars forming in them. And the nucleus here, this has the older stars in it. That's not always the case, but I'm just saying it just happens to be. And they tend to be older stars, more like the sun. Some giant K stars, and of course stars that are created from the debris left behind by some of these hot blue stars out here that have gone supernova. Like here, look at this cluster right here of material. Okay, that stuff that you see right there, that's interesting. And by the way, make sure you guys are on 1080p on your settings so that you can see this all in the detail that's required. I think that'll be cool. And let's see now. Reading what Matthias said. He said, I was studying to become an astronomer or generally work with space, but life got in the way. Watching stuff like this keeps the dream going. Hey man, it's never too late to start. I am actually going to go back to school further, and I'll do that once I can get to Arizona on a more permanent basis. And I'm going to go to one of the universities out there, like Arizona University. I want to get a degree in planetary science now too. I think that is something that's important because I'm an exoplanet guy, and to have a degree in planetary science is helpful if you want to publish. So this is neat. So Measure 81, look how beautiful that is. Really good performance. Let me try and shave away some of the noise if I can. Okay. Shave away a little more noise. Yeah, look at that. Wow. And I'm going to bring back the unsharp mask here to show more detail in here. There we go. Yeah, look at these beautiful spiral arms going all the way out there. All the way out there. That's something. That is something. Matthias, I gotta tell you something. When I became an astronomer, you would believe it, but I was 9 years old when I became an astronomer. What's that mean? It means that I knew I was going to be an astronomer. That's when I knew it. Now, I had a surgery that kept me out of my school for a month. And while I was home, going stir crazy as a precocious attention deficit disorder kid, I designed a space station. And I wrote it down on notebook paper, and I came up with a whole design. I made drawings, I arrows pointing to my stuff, and I sent it off to NASA. My mother must have thought I was crazy. In later years, she confided that she did think I was a little off the deep end on that. But she was very surprised when I got a response from NASA. And the response was in the form of a gigantic box. And when the box arrived, it had a big NASA sticker on the top. I was like, wow, NASA? And I opened up this box, and as soon as I opened it, I saw this large manila envelope, which is my envelope that I had sent with my space station. And I didn't look underneath that. I just took my plan out to see what they thought, and there was a letter on top of it. And it said, I'm paraphrasing, Dear Mark, this space station is a wonderful endeavor. I had to ask my mother, actually, about some of the words, because I didn't know all the words. And he said, stay with the space program. You have a bright future. And your designs are interesting, and go over your plan because I've written notes for you on the plan. It's like, whoa! I've never had that kind of attention from a scientist. So I went through every page, and he wrote comments with a check marks, and he said, "Excellent idea. We've been using this idea. We thought this was great too. Carbon dioxide scrubbers would make the air cleaner, like you say." It's like, wow! And I came up with this concept of having something to scrub carbon dioxide. I didn't even know that existed, but they did. Okay. Well, anyway, I looked through the plan. I saw all these notes that he wrote, and he wrote them in pencil with an engineering pencil. You could tell by the way that in later years I knew what they looked like. Well, anyway, he wrote these things. I read them and read them and read them again. And when I finally put my space station plan down and looked in the box, I was taken aback. Now, this box was about 24 inches long by 12 by 12 inches. Okay, so not very big, but to a 9-year-old, it's a monster box. So I asked my mother for a magic marker, and I immediately scrawled on every side of it, "Space Box." And I then opened and I looked inside, and he had like a piece of cardboard on top, and I lifted it up. I gasped. There were model kits, mission patches for the different missions, books, brochures. He just stuffed that thing to the gills with all the stuff that I found out years and years and years later he bought with his own money from the gift shop for this little kid who scrawled a space station plan on notebook paper and sent it to him. Where do you see that? And that's the kind of thing that just sticks with you. Obviously it has, because listen to me tell you the story. So the bottom line is, this man, as a NASA scientist, he moved up the ladder. He ended up making his way into, this is gorgeous, he ended up making his way into other aspects of the science. And he ended up working at Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And he ended up working his way as an engineer all the way to being the head of the Outer Solar System Discovery Directorate. And his name is Burt Lee, otherwise known as Gentry Lee. And Gentry Lee is the man that got me into astronomy. And as a kid, I didn't know how to contact him, or anything like that. And I didn't know I should, I'm a kid, I didn't realize. So life got a hold of me, and I ended up going to college, becoming an astronomer because I had to, because I look up in the sky, and I just couldn't help but think that there were other beings out there on other planets looking back, in a way. So when gosh, it had to be like 10 years ago, no, 12 years ago, okay, I literally wrote Gentry Lee a message for the first time since I was 9 years old. And I wrote, "Dear Gentry, my name is Mark D'Antonio. I was 9 years old, and I sent you a space station plan to NASA when you were working there as a scientist." And I told him the whole story. I told him everything I just told you about him sending it back. I said, "Obviously you don't remember me. I don't expect you to. But I want you to know that kid that you spent this much time with ended up becoming an astronomer because of you." He was blown away. He wrote back and said, "Oh my gosh, you're right, I don't remember, but that is the kind of stuff I did. I did do that kind of thing." And I said to him, "You sent me a box full of stuff." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'd buy it with my own money." That was just the coolest thing. So that's the kind of person in science that is the type of person that I became. I just couldn't take away someone else's inspiration. I just thought, you got to be inspiring. You got to show people the sky. You got to show your passion, your love. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is stunning. Now, let's talk about this galaxy, okay? This galaxy, if I recall, is something like 23 million light years away. No, let me look it up. its distance is 11.8 million light years away. That means at 11.8 or 12 million light years that you're seeing it as it was 12 million years ago. But don't feel bad for the photons traveling through space all alone to get here from there, because as I said, from their perspective, the moment they were emanated from this galaxy, they got here instantly, from their point of view. Yes, time is messed up in relativity, and that's something you're just going to have to get used to. But look at this beautiful. I'm gonna do this. See, it's already identified. I'll set the target name, and that goes up here. You can see it right there, target name. And that's also the name of the folder out at skytourlive.org. When you go out there, you'll see this, and you can take this picture, right? I'll save the image with annotation. That's a separate picture, right? It doesn't affect this picture here. So when I say save, all right, and then save exactly as seen, okay. Now what that shows us is, here's the picture, okay, and this is what you get when you go up there. That's the picture you can download. Check that out. All yours. Take it, enjoy it. I mean, you gotta love it, don't you? Well, you don't have to, but it's worth it, isn't it? Yeah, sure is. Okay. So, that said, we've got 25 images that we've taken here, and our full width half maximum filter will have a few errors in it somewhere along the way here. I think we had 6. Yeah, there we go. We had some at the beginning that weren't coming in, but we got them now, so we're good. Our guiding should still be going, and it is dead accurate. That's excellent. Okay. And so that's 27 shots now. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. So I'll just check the chat here, see if anybody has any questions. Tony Lowe says that I'm really grateful for free resources like this. Oh yeah, absolutely. A classroom is quite far out of my budget. Exactly, exactly right. That's why I'm doing this, dude. That's why, because I think that everyone should be able to get into science. And here's the thing: science is very complex. Obviously, we can go. I could talk about the galaxy in a way that would make you say, "What the heck is he talking about? I don't understand anything." But how does that help you, right? How does that help you? It doesn't. If you wanna enjoy something, isn't it nice to know something about it? This galaxy, now you know how far away it is. 11.8 million light years. I haven't talked about the spiral arms, but the spiral arms are you ready for this? I'll give you this little analogy. These spiral arms you see here, all right, they are rotating in the direction they look like they're rotating, right? They're rotating. So the galaxy is spinning this way. Okay? The stars go around the galaxy. Our sun has gone around our galaxy almost 20 times since our Earth was formed 4.6 billion years ago. Okay? Alright? Almost 20 times. Alright? So, but that's not how old the galaxy is, okay? That means that that's when we formed in the galaxy. So think of it this way. These arms, if they're spinning around for all that time, billions of years, don't you think that these would have wound up and gotten tighter and tighter and tighter over time? Because gravity's holding it all together. So as it spins, wouldn't they tend to tighten up? We'd think that'd be true. But why do we see galaxies where we see relatively loose arms like this, okay, and galaxies that have even more loose spiral arms, some that are tight, some that are loose, some that are just ellipticals of stars? Why do we see all those different types? Well, a lot of the questions have yet to be answered regarding what makes an elliptical galaxy. In other words, one without spiral arms, an elliptical, Were they spirals that went through a collision with another galaxy? We see a lot of that. The next one we look at is going to be exactly that. Okay? And what else is going on? Well, the reason that they don't seem to wind up has to do with something that we didn't understand and can't yet see, but we're starting to think about, and that's called dark matter. Now, we also know that there is a huge amount of what's called neutral hydrogen out there, more than we ever thought. And it could be responsible for the missing mass in our entire universe, which is, one of the big cosmological sore points, not being able to find the rest of the mass that could have made up the universe when it went off in the Big Bang. But the galaxies don't wind up because there might be this dark matter halo, a halo of mass around the galaxy that actually helps the galaxy spin almost like a solid disk. Now, it doesn't. There is differential rotation. You see some winding up here of the arms. Okay? This winding up is from billions of years of rotation, but it's rotation that's been slowed down in terms of winding up. And that's because of the fact that this extra mass is helping those arms get around the galaxy and help them spin around the galaxy, making it spin more like a rigid disk, although not completely like a rigid disk. This is crazy. Okay? Now, as far as how the spiral arms are formed and what they are in reality, how they formed, that's a question that I know the answer to, but I think would probably take a lot longer than tonight to explain. Okay? If you want to know, you can figure. If you want to know what that's like, I'll give you a couple of examples, and then you can take it from there. Look up density wave theory. Okay? Look up galaxy and density wave theory, and that will help you figure out what we're looking at and how the spiral arms formed. I could explain it with an example, and it goes like this. When you see these spiral arms, you tend to think that it's the same stars in those spiral arms that are slowly rotating around the galaxy. And it's not. Galaxies spin, and they have spiral arms, and the stars have their own orbits through this galaxy. And what's knotted up in these spiral arms are dark dust and gas, okay, that makes more stars, all right? However, the stars orbit the galaxy independent of being in the spiral arms. In fact, they move into and out of the spiral arms as they rotate around the galaxy. That blows your mind, I know, but that's how it is. And we know that that's how it is because we can study stellar rotation and galactic rotation separately and see that the stars are rotating around the galaxy at a different rate than the spiral arms. The spiral arms are slow, lumbering giants, and the stars are going, the stars are going around and around and around as the spiral arms are rotating. So it's a fast motion, right? So that's kind of cool, So in this particular galaxy, I'll zoom in a little more here. Okay, in this particular galaxy, okay, we can see the origin of these spiral arms in here. Look at this. God, this is beautiful. Wow. I'm so happy with this image. I'll save it one more time. We're up to 39 images here. And we're getting a little bit of wind out there, which is why we're getting 2 images here that had failed a little bit, but we got 3 more coming after that. So look up density wave theory. Now, what's an example in real life of how a spiral arm works? I have one. You ready? You're driving to work on a highway. You meet a traffic jam. Beep, 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 beep. You slow down. Then you get out of the traffic jam and move forward. Okay? From the air, that traffic jam is moving slowly along. Okay? Right? It's moving slowly along toward its destination. And the cars coming into it are going through it and ending up coming out on the other side. But still that traffic jam is moving slowly. But the cars are different every few minutes. Because the same car, they slow down and they speed up and come out. They slow down and they get caught in it and they speed up and get out. And so the traffic jam as a knot of cars continues, but they're different cars at all points. That's a spiral arm, guys. That's a spiral arm. It's a congested area, but the stars are free to move through. Like the cars are free to move through it and get out of it. It doesn't mean the traffic jam's disappeared. It's behind you now. They're still in it. There's cars just entering it, still in it. Basically, it's a galactic, cosmic traffic jam. And that's the thing that is interesting about galaxy spiral arms. You know, I want to say hello to, let's see, Chantel has joined us. Hello there, Chantel. Rainstorm Hunter is here. Nice to see you. And Stratagem says, isn't what dark matter itself, isn't what dark matter itself is highly debated also? Yes, it is. Absolutely. I've heard a theory of it being micro black holes all the way to being a sort of particle. Yeah, you know, when we talk about particle, let's quantify that. If we talk about a particle like a proton, electron, and so on, okay, or an element, you know, cadmium or phosphorus or whatever, that's an atom, right? It has a nucleus and has electrons going around it. Okay, that's normal matter. That's what's called baryonic matter. Baryonic matter. Well, dark matter isn't, from what we understand so far, dark matter is not baryonic matter. It's something else, but it exists, and we see it indirectly by looking at galactic rotation. In a galaxy, we notice that those spiral arms aren't spinning up with each other, aren't spinning up. You know, that problem means that there's something that's helping those spiral arms continue to spin, and that something is this dark matter. It's called dark matter not because it's black, but because we don't know what it is. Let me give you a little more contrast on all this right here. Look at that. Wow. Okay, and I'll just back off just a little more. Woof, that's just something. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the best image of this galaxy we've ever taken. This one right here tonight, you're seeing it. This is the best one of Messier 81 we've ever taken. Oof. This will turn into a beautifully processed image when we're done with this. Wow. So much detail in here. Look at that. Look at all the detail. Look at the convolutions here in this dark lane inside here. Wow, this is something else. Really pretty. Tonelo says that's incredible. Yeah, I agree. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Unbelievable. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get ready to move to the next galaxy I'd like to show you. Now we're using, this is the Benson telescope right now. Okay. And in the Sonoran telescope, the wide field system, I still have the Skull and Crossbones Nebula. You can see where the telescope's pointing right here. And we'll be back to that in a little bit. Right now we have 50 images. I'm going to save this at 50. Ooh, that's something. If you think this is a beautiful galaxy, just wait a minute, because I've got something else to show you. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so let's go back now. Trust me, it's going up to our server, so it's not lost. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go to our low light mode again here. Alright, and in our low light mode, we see it there. I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to bring it to fit the width again here. Let me do this first. I'm going to optimize for speed. Okay. Now it's a nice night out in Benson, Arizona, where this telescope's located, and we're on a high plateau with 9 other professional astronomers. So most likely all of their buildings are open, they're all doing their thing, and we're doing ours too. So our internet will slow down sometimes. We are in the process of getting our own Starlink for here. We've got one for the Sonoran telescope here. We got our own Starlink out here, but we're going to get our own out here as well. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's going to cost us $120 a month. But you know, what choice do we have? We got to actually have a enjoyable experience for everybody. Okay, so now coming down here, we're going to come over here. That tiny little galaxy right there. And this one, let's see. Well, first of all, let me go here to our. Go back here for 1 second. All right, go back to this guy, and let's just identify that and set that value. Now let's come over here. And let's go check it out. That's a beautiful image. Alright. Telescope is shifting over, you can see it right there, and this helps you to see which way it's going. We do have an infrared camera in there that's looking at the telescope. And the telescope has shifted around, and so we should see the galaxy pop in here. If it doesn't, we will find it. Okay. It's probably very close. Let me see if we can solve for this and go there. Yep, we could. So now we'll see it appear right in the dead center here. There it is. Now if you like that galaxy, you're going to love this one. Okay, so now we're going to check this galaxy out. Okay, and we're going to center it here in just a sec. There we go. Alright. Actually, let me bring it back up a little bit. Alright. Okay, now let's go to our guider and let's stop guiding. Tell it to grab an image for the star we want to guide on. Find a star to guide on. Oh, that's going to be beautiful. Okay. That's going to work. Okay. Alright, this one now, a different type of galaxy. It's a spiral galaxy like M81, but it's had something happen. It's had a major collision with another galaxy. So we're going to be seeing the destruction that's been caused to this galaxy. Here's the main galaxy. This is the galaxy that's gone plowing through it. I will explain all this in just a second. So we're going to turn this into a 25-second exposure. Alright, off we go. Alright, let's get out of our low light mode and go into our deep sky mode. Now, this galaxy called the Whirlpool is a galaxy in Messier 51 that was the collision has literally started to rip it apart. And the first image might be a little rough because it's going to have some noise in it. Okay, but look at that. Now, the second and subsequent images will be much, much better. And so when we look at that, you'll see that and you'll go, wow. That's just incredible. Now, I'm going to pull these back right away. Okay, to start showing a little bit more what's going on there. I'm gonna, oh, here goes the satellite. I'm gonna drop this through. Get rid of some of the noise. Look at that. That's absolutely incredible. Let me color correct to give me a black background. Now, that's the real colors. How about that, huh? And this satellite coming through, you can tell a lot by the length of the satellite trail, whether it gets brighter or dimmer. I can tell you that this is not a regular satellite. This is actually a rocket booster that put a satellite up in orbit. How would I possibly know that? Because a satellite is going to be the same brightness all the way across. Here it's getting brighter and dimmer. Okay, brighter and dimmer, brighter and dimmer. You know what that is? That's actually a rocket booster that's doing this. It's a rocket booster that's actually doing a bit of a tumble. Okay, kind of like this. So, it gets a little brighter when it's like that, and then it gets a little less bright when it's like that, but it's not quite end on. Okay, so we're watching a tumbling rocket body come through here. You might say, Mark, he's ruining the picture. You could say that, and maybe so. However, one of the things that happens is that trail right there is only on a couple of frames. And we're stacking frames. We're taking an image, taking a second, aligning it with the first, and putting it on top and making an image sandwich of subsequent frames. So all the subsequent frames are going to show the non-satellite trail location, and over time is going to totally get rid of this trail that's in our way here. It's not very bright, so that's why it'll go away quicker. So look at this. This is the beautiful galaxy called the Whirlpool. I think that's pretty cool. And if we can zoom in a little bit on it, look at that. Look at the detail in there. Wow. In the Sonoran telescope, the wide field, the galaxy is just a tiny little thing about this big with these two. You can't see much of this detail. That particular telescope is designed for big expansive nebulae, and this telescope is designed for galaxies and other things like that. Curtis Horn's with us. Hey Curtis, how are you? Just so you know, Curtis Horn's a genius. That's right, Curtis. I told him. Yep. Curtis Horn's a physicist. Knows his stuff. Oh, thanks, Curtis, by the way. I forgot to say thank you for saying it's so nice of you. When we installed the telescope back in February, I was looking toward a potential period of break-in where I had to actually spend a great deal of time working out kinks and bugs. But I have to tell you, this particular telescope turned out to be a lot less of a trouble than the Sonoran one. They're very reliable. Nothing goes wrong. The mount is solid and well supported. The telescope is solid and well supported. So we have a lot. Now, the one out in the Sonoran may eventually have to leave there, or we may end up getting another telescope to work with. We have another one of these exact mounts like you see in the picture right here. We have another one in our storage that we have for the second telescope that we're going to convert for use in this building. I did want to mention too, while everyone's here, thanks to Asterion Foundation, we got a grant to buy a spectrograph, and we're going to have a third system which is going to be studying the spectra of galaxies. We'll be looking at galaxies that emit certain things. We'll look at galaxies that have a lot of very interesting goings on in them. Nebulae planetary nebulae we'll be able to look at and figure out what they're made of. And we, right here, while we're watching and looking at the spectrum, we'll be able to figure out what the star was that made a planetary nebula. Where did it come from? How did it evolve? All that information is hidden in the spectrum. And that's something that's not available to us right now. Now, this telescope, I do have what's called a filter wheel, and I'll show you right here. You can see it. Radian is a narrow, it's a narrow band, all-in-one filter. UHCS is the one we're using. That's the one that allows us to capture the hydrogen and the oxygen, and literally it punches right through any sky glow. We have almost none here, actually. And then the SA100, now that is a spectral gradient filter that allows us to see the spectra of stars and identify and classify stars. So that's there. So all these stars would appear as little spectra with a little dot for the star. Alright. And then we have a dark frame. It just blocks all the view. Now why would I do that? So that we can actually see what the dark current is in our camera. That gives us a basis for subtracting off the noise of the camera itself, effectively. All right, then we have open, which means it's a straight hole. We don't have any filter, and that's what we used to do in photography. When I was getting my degree, I was using a 20-inch refractor and taking photos of stars for the parallax program. I was working in the parallax program for 4 years, finding distances to nearby stars. And then I also did what's called a photometry thesis, where I was actually studying the brightness of stars and using a photometer and a 24-inch Cassegrain system to study these stars. Lots of considerations there. You don't just point it at something and get data and say, "Ooh, I'm done." That's just the beginning. And when you do it, you gotta look at a certain time of the day. Night. And you gotta look when the objects are a certain altitude. They can't be below a certain altitude because you're looking through too much air at that point, and that degrades the image tremendously. Closer to the zenith is better. Remember how bright that line was? Look at it, it's almost gone now. See? We're overlaying it with better data. Look at this. That's pretty. Let's zoom into the core of this galaxy. Wow, that's neat. We're going to save this. Save it exactly as seen. Oh, I'm saving it to the wrong directory. My mistake. Okay, I will fix that. Yeah, has to be the Whirlpool Galaxy. Yes. Alright. I'll save it with annotations anyway. Okay, it's now in the Whirlpool Galaxy. And I'll save it again to make sure we save it exactly like we should. There we go. And this is more correct colors. Notice the blue. The blue are these hot young stars, like I said, and you always seem to find them in the spiral arms. Okay? Now, the other thing I want you to notice is, I want you to notice how this arm goes out like that, comes around, but this arm, okay, comes out and goes out and stretches all the way to this arm. What's going on? Well, one of the theories about what's happened with the Whirlpool Galaxy is that this galaxy, when it came through the galaxy, it started pulling on elements. It started pulling on elements of these arms. I don't mean as in chemical elements. I mean, gas, dust, chunks of gas and dust and so forth. And what's happened here is this galaxy is further into the page. It's further away from us. And the Whirlpool Galaxy is up here. And that little galaxy's passed through, okay? If you look down here in the lower left corner with me, okay, that galaxy has passed through. And what it's done is it's pulled on this arm of the galaxy here. See how it comes to a little point? Well, from the front it looks like this, right? We have the galaxy and it looks sort of like this. Or from the side it looks like this. Okay, see that? The galaxy's spiral arm is bent downward. And this galaxy here is this one here. So this is what it looks like from the side. In 3 dimensions, it's kind of like that. It's pulled that arm down and deformed the galaxy. Right? And that's something that happens with galactic interaction like this. Curtis Warren says he's finishing up the mathematics on a paper that is a breakthrough in efforts to show some details about unified field theory. Curtis, I gotta read that paper, dude. That sounds fantastic. When it comes out, you let me know. I cannot wait to see it. And congratulations on the breakthroughs, I can tell you. That's gotta feel good. Alright, we're gonna go to 30 on this. And then by then, the Leo galaxies should be up higher. There's 30. We'll reach 30. Take us out, Mr. LaForge. Aye, Captain. Alright, there we go. So, there is the Whirlpool Galaxy, folks. So enjoy it. It'll be up on our server at skytourlive.org in just a few moments. James Dugan's with us. Hey, James. Good to see you. Very, very good. Curtis says it makes a huge difference having a solid mount. Yeah, you betcha. The pier that this telescope is on up here, which you can't really see, it's in the dark. The pier weighs 150 pounds. And the telescope mount is another 80 pounds or so, maybe more because of the counterweights we added. We had to get more counterweights. So it's got a lot of stuff up here. James Dugan, happy Easter to you as well, my friend. It's winter for you right now. Or you're going into winter effectively, right? James is in Australia. And he's in the opposite side of the Earth's tilt right now. Cool. Alright. One last time. Yeah, okay folks, so there you go. That's the Whirlpool Galaxy. And this is the full frame. Look at that, huh? Yeah, let me do one more thing before we go. Let me see if we can get a little more data out of this. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Now, no, that doesn't look good, but I wanted to show you all this extra stuff out here. This is the debris of stars that have been pulled out of the galaxy and are going hog wild all around this galaxy here. So there's stars and there's gas and dust in here that are being whipped around and pulled around. Alright? And we will go at this point with that. Let it go. Very nice. Alright, so now we'll go back to our 1 second here and do this. And let's go view a little more. Let's head back now to our planetarium program. Let's see if we've got one more down here while we're here. I thought we might. Yes, M101. M101's vicious equal. Alright, so we're going to go there. We'll go to M101 and check it out. And it's right down here. I think it's right here. Okay. I'm a professional. I see a galaxy right here, as most of you probably do too. Okay, so let's bring this down. Okay. I'm centering it. It's right here. It's fainter, but as such, it's actually pretty cool. You'll see. M101 is a face-on galaxy, so you're looking at like the whirlpool. You're seeing it from the top down, effectively, and that looks kind of cool. Okay, that should be pretty good. Okay. Alright. The other thing too is out in the Benson Plateau tonight we don't have a whole lot of wind, which is nice. Okay, let's go into our guiding program. Stop guiding on something that isn't there. Guide on something that is there. Okay, let's see if we can grab us a guide star. Yeah, we got one. That's good. Excellent. So that will be guiding away. And now we're going to do again, a 25-second photo is all we're going to need. And we're underway. You can see by our little yellow progress by our Asterian Foundation sponsor sign. And now we'll go into our deep sky mode out of our low light mode. And here we go. And right here we should see the Pinwheel Galaxy show up. Here it is. Look at that beautiful galaxy. Look at that. Now, I'm showing you this galaxy for a reason, and that's because this galaxy has arms that are very different from the other two that we just looked at. Okay? And what's different about it is that this galaxy shows us a very interesting layout of its spiral arms. Alright, let me just bring this over here and move this out. Take the mid-level way out. There we go. Let's darken up the background here. Okay. So you see how these spiral arms are looser. These loose spiral arms, again, they would have been wound up if they were spiral arms that were going to be wound up without the presence of something like dark matter to hold the galaxy rotating almost rigidly. Okay, but they're not. So we have that. Then we have this little area here. Look at that. This is an area of hot blue stars that are forming at the very tip of one of the spiral arms. So what causes that? You know, maybe a supernova went off in here, or two, and that formed a bunch of shock waves, which ended up causing a spate of star formation like this. Where you start to compress something out in the vacuum of space, and it's the only thing that's massive, and it's going to attract more mass to it. Next thing you know, you got a star. That can happen hundreds and hundreds of times in a row, and maybe that's what we're seeing there. So we'll let this develop as well. It's really pretty. Pinwheel Galaxy, it's called, or Measure 101. It's a famous galaxy. Everybody knows it. As you can see, there's a lot going on here. Okay, we'll save this image with annotations. Actually, not yet. I want to take M101, set that to be the target name, then save the image with annotations. So then it'll go into the M101 directory. There we are. And this image is available to you as well, so you can check it out and see what's in this image. Wow, that's really pretty. James Dugan says it's still warm but cooling. Yeah. Michael Hedrick says personal favorite, the pinwheel. Yeah, the pinwheel's, it's faint. You know, it's faint. You know, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see it because, well, we don't get a chance to see galaxies like this that often, do we? Let's go back into our planetarium here for a moment and look at this. This is another one that's actually a pretty good distance away. This one is 20 million light years away. Now, what's interesting is the whirlpool that we looked at was 23 million light years away. This was 20 million light years away. It's actually a little closer. This is 3 million light years further away than the M101 that we're looking at here. Now, it stands to reason because you can kind of say, well, let's suppose they're about the same size. And Mission 51 is a little bit smaller than this, about this big, and this galaxy being, 3 million light years closer to us might look bigger to us. And look, it does. You know? So, that is interesting. I need a new chair. This chair's making all kinds of noise. In my bunker control center here, I actually have the heat on and it was 80 degrees. It's cold in here. It was 80 outside, and here it was, gosh, like 60. Alright. And no, the AC wasn't on. Alright, we've taken 12 shots so far, so they're starting to get a little bit cleaner. You can see better detail. What I'm going to do is pull this down, and I'm going to take this mid-level and move it down, because this mid-level is responsible for getting rid of some of the noise. Look at that. Now we get rid of some of the noise. I'm going to over-process for a split second just to see what else is hiding in here. Look at all the detail out here. Look at all this stuff out here. See where the arms go? Look at that. All the way out here. All the way out here and around. We're talking about a massive galaxy. So that's what we were looking for. That's what we're looking to achieve. Now, it may look faint here, but you know what? We can still get it. We can still see that detail when we actually process it. Let's check our guiding. Guiding looks like it's off a little bit. That's odd. Interesting. I wonder if we stopped getting the images. No? Okay. I know, don't mess with success, but I'm going to stop it right here and redo this image. Okay, we'll try that. That's a faint star image. Okay. No, it's still working. That's good. So this galaxy being 20 million light years away, again, we're seeing it as it was 20 million years ago. You go back and, if you ask, the AI, an AI thing like Gemini or Grok or ChatGPT, what was Earth like 20 million years ago? What was happening on Earth 20 million years ago? You'll find interesting stuff like, well, the Red Sea opened up, stuff like that, and that's long before any of us were even a glimmer. Lucy, our hominid ancestor, was 4.2 million years ago, not 20 million years ago. So there were plenty of animals out there 20 million years ago. But the path to intelligence isn't guaranteed. It's a potential, and there's no guarantee. I hope you guys are liking Galaxy Night tonight. Let me know here in the comments if you're enjoying this, because I just find this to be really amongst my favorite. And with the other telescope, with the wide field system, I'm going to bring up some light. With the wide field system, I find that galaxies are kind of small and not as featured, not as feature-full, if you will. And with this telescope, it's designed for this kind of stuff. You know? Hey, Fantasy. Fantasy says, hello, I've been lurking. That's fair enough. You can lurk. You're allowed to lurk. Yeah. Catherine says, love these galaxies. Fantasy says, loving Galaxy Night. Best time of the year. Is the most wonderful time of the year. Galaxy Night. Yeah. JSCO, what's going on? JSCO is here, one of our past equipment giveaway winners. Alright, let me bring this back here. Let's see about... I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to try and bring this out a little bit so that I can drag this in a little bit. Okay. So we can see more detail in there. We'll color correct it. Okay, there we go. Color corrected. I'll drag this back up now. Right about there. Excellent. That works. Black Eye Galaxy and Coma Cluster. Yeah, Coma's coming up. Let's go over here while this is adding up. Let's go over to the other telescope. And let's bring up our all-sky camera. Here's the all-sky. Here's Coma Berenices right here. If we put this up here, here's Coma Berenices, see? So that's literally, it's up right here. This glow is Phoenix, 75 miles away from us. A sensitive camera picks it up, right? And we're looking actually up here in Ursa Major. You can see Ursa Major here. We're looking up here. So we're actually very close. We did go to Canis Medici when we looked at the whirlpool earlier, and Coma's right down below. And Coma is famous for having tons of galaxies there. Hey Tonolo, thank you so much for that. That is beautiful. Thank you. Incredible. So we'll come back to this. We're gonna go check out the Coma cluster as well. I think I have one more galaxy in me before we have to close down for the night. And that's only because tomorrow is Easter, and I got a lot to do. You know, what can I tell you? You know, hey Marty, we got to go back to the future. You know? So I will do my best. Interesting blue here and here. I'm wondering if that's an artifact or if that's part of this spiral arm. I don't know yet. Actually, I can figure that out right here. Yeah, it looks like there's something. Aha! Satellite. Gotcha. Look at that. I got some walking noise here from the guiding, but I can get rid of that. Astro Ape is with us. How you doing, Astro Ape? What's up? Nice to see you. Toner, thank you again, by the way. Very, very good of you. Thank you so much. We have such good people with Sky Tour. Let's do this. We got 30 images here. That's actually a pretty bright version. You got some nice blue spiral arms, and you see the yellow, older, later type stars out in the middle of the galaxy there. That's incredible. Save exactly as seen. Nice. Okay, we'll stop at 31 here. We'll go back into our low light mode here. And look how faint it is. You can just barely see it in here. Yeah. You have to use averted vision to see it. If you can't quite see it here, you look over here, and out of the corner of your eye you see it here. That's how you look at things that are faint in the night sky, actually. It's pretty cool. Alright, let's go back here now. Let's spin us around here. And right about here. There's Regulus and Leo. Here's Coma Berenices. This is the Coma cluster. And there's a bunch of galaxies up in here, which are really interesting. And you don't know where to go. It's like, I want some of them. I don't know which ones to do. Okay, but we got, we have Markarian's chain here, which is interesting, of course. And okay, Curtis says NGC 4725. Alright, let's try it. Let's go look. I'm sure that we have seen this before, and I would love to see it again. We always take requests, by the way. There it is. Yeah, it's a beautiful galaxy. Alright, this is called an active galaxy. Now what's interesting about this thing is that when we get the spectrograph running, we'll be able to take a spectrum of this and see what's going on inside of it. We're going to see some strange emission lines coming from this galaxy as well. Because some galaxies are quite strong emitters. So we're going to try to go, we'll check this out if we can. Okay, there goes the telescope heading toward Coma. Okay. That might be it right there. I think that's it. So I want to bring this up. Like this. There we go. Okay, one more click here. Alright, now we're there. So now let's go and let's grab the field and get us a guide star in here if we can. That'll work. Okay. And so now we're going to come up and change this to a 25-second view. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that we're where we think we are, because there's a lot of galaxies here. I want to make sure we've got the right one. Yeah, we did. That's NGC 4725. Excellent. We'll set that to be the target name. Okay. And now let's go and change our time to 25 seconds. Off we go into the wild black yonder. So we'll come out of here and go into our deep sky mode from our low light mode. Yes. And 1 second from now, that. I don't think we grabbed that image for some reason. Are we guiding properly or no? We're guiding. Let's see what happened. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. That's a gorgeous galaxy. Let's look at the details about this galaxy. This one is a barred spiral. It's called NGC 4725. If we zoom in on it, you'll see it has some very bright blue elements in it. You can see those very clearly. Okay, let's see if we might not be able to color correct this. Alright, and now let's take and darken up the background a little bit. And let's drop this mid-level down so we can get rid of some of the noise and see some of the more detailed areas. That's beautiful. A barred spiral is fascinating because in the barred spiral galaxy, the nucleus of the galaxy is extended, and then the spiral arms come off of those. So they come off of those and make kind of like it makes a galaxy that kind of looks like an old-fashioned steering wheel, where you had that central piece of the steering wheel, and then the rest of the wheels this way and this way. It's kind of looks like that. And there's even a galaxy called the Steering Wheel Galaxy. Actually, it's kind of weird. Nerd Farm Astro is here. He says, wouldn't longer exposures be better? Maybe 60 or 120 seconds, or even longer for stacking. Oh yeah, absolutely. But you have to keep in mind that we're doing outreach with our telescopes. So we capture most of the data, and based on my knowledge of the objects, I know that we can capture most of the data in an object. Like if I was doing the Dolphin Head Nebula, which is of course a relatively faint distended nebula, I wouldn't do it in this telescope because this telescope is a narrow field. It's only a 33 arc-minute field. But I would do it in our other telescope, which is in the Sonoran Desert, which is where this all-sky camera is located. There's that telescope there. So this telescope, and we're open tonight up there, is in the desert along with this other one. And this is a 1 second low light shot. There's very little light out there. This is mostly manufactured. Look how low we are. I'm gonna bring us up to Coma Berenices here if I can. There's Leo. There's Coma. Alright, so let's see if we can't get to NGC. Is it 4725, right? 4725. The same galaxy that we're looking at right now. So we're going to go there with this telescope as well. You'll see the telescope start to move over my head here. Okay, there it goes. Up he goes. Now it's going to probably capture more than one galaxy in here too, because that's, you know, there's a lot of galaxies in this area of the sky. Okay. Okay, so here is where we are. Let's do a nearby study, see if we can identify everything here. There's 4725 right there. Okay, and we're going to center it into view. Yes, please. So it'll be right here in a second. There it goes. Okay, so you see we have a galaxy here, galaxy there. And let's take a look at what this galaxy, I'm going to actually do one little thing here. I'm going to jog this one little bit south here. Okay. Alright, now we're searching for a guide star with this telescope, and then once we get it, we'll do the same exposure as we did with the other telescope. We'll do a 25-second photo. This is artificially making you think the sky is brighter. It's a pitch black out there. So this is just I've got it trying to show us faint details in the sky. All right, so let's go do that. Okay, and let's now go into our live stack for this. Just the previous shot. I'll clear that. Okay. Meanwhile, over in the other image, over in the other telescope, 220 miles from the previous, we're getting this going on here. I'm gonna bring this in to show a little more detail. You can start to see some detail in here now. Very stunning. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. That's looking really pretty, no doubt about it. Music's kind of spacey, huh? Oh yeah. Alright, I'm just going to check a few things here in just a second. So this same galaxy, I'll show it to you. Okay, this same galaxy here is seen in the other telescope. Okay, I'll show it to you right now. It's right here. So here it is, And there's the other galaxies that were in the same field of view. And there's something out here too. So in this view you can see how the galaxy and its detail are going to be kind of subdued because it's going to be down in this tiny little field view. Now again, we're 34 arc minutes in size, so that's literally just slightly larger than the moon, right? I'm sorry, not that. That's the other. That's this telescope that has that size field. Sorry. This is 3 full moons across and 2 full moons tall. So that's a lot of real estate crammed in with into a small number of pixels. Right, and I'm gonna make it better by doing that. And now I'll come over here. And so when we zoom in on this, you can see how this looks okay, but it's not quite as detailed. It's nowhere near as detailed. When we come back to the other one, you'll see there's star formation regions down in here that are individually visible in the other view, as we'll see. Okay, especially in this one. When you look down here, there are, right here, these are tight clusters of hot O and B stars. And I'm going to show you those. You're going to see them. Here you can't see them. You only see this sort of fuzziness here. So it's kind of hard to see. But let me drag the black level up a little bit, and then take this down more. Yeah, see? I'll pop this back just a tad so you can see it. There we go. And you see 4712, yeah. Yep, and you got this one up here too. Where'd it go? I might have, there it is. Got that one there. So we have 3 and 1. Yep. Let's go back to our other view so you can see. Here is the other view. And now you'll notice in that bottom of the galaxy, look at the detail in here. You can see this. You can see this. Sorry. You can see these the star formation region down here. You can see it here. You can see it here. You can see it here. Okay. Very, very hot blue stars, O and B, and they got like OB associations in this part of the galaxy. Right. You can see details within the spiral arms, and you can see it clearly how the spiral arms come off the bar here, right? And in the other one, we can't really see that, can we? Right? We don't see it as easily. Like if we have to zoom way in, okay, we see that it's sort of, we know that the O and B associations are in here. Okay, we know that there's another one in here, and we can't see it. We can't see it like we can see it in this other view. So what we say often is there's no, there's nothing like focal length, having more focal length, and that allows us to have higher magnification. Very nice. But this image compared to this image, hands down, hands far and away, this one is better for clarity. So this one is meant for wide nebulae and views of vast tracts of sky, and this one is meant for those close-up shots that we love so much. That's just, that's going to work out to be pretty. This is a good choice, Curtis. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. Let's go in. Let me just move this over. And you'll see why in a second. Let's bring this up now. And this galaxy is 67 million light years away, roughly. So that's pretty interesting. And the other thing about it is, it's actually a somewhat peculiar galaxy as well. We call it an active galaxy because it may have a jet coming out of it, or it may have emission lines that are seen coming from different regions of the galaxy. All that is possible. Alright. Very nice. It's such a beautiful night. I don't necessarily want to go to bed. I gotta do it, but I'm not gonna do it. Gotta do more. Gotta do one more. I'm known as Mr. One More, so why not? Right? So let's go here. Let this thing add up. We got 30 images so far. That's good. Oh, we have a beautiful globular. We have M53. Should we enter the nice globular cluster? We have more galaxies over here, obviously. But we have the blow dry galaxy. I've seen that one. I know you haven't. M85. That's an elliptical galaxy, however. No, it's not. It's an SA spiral. Yeah. M3 is probably the better view here. And there's Arcturus and Corona Borealis, and now down in Hercules, you know, we have Messier 13, and Messier 13 is a really pretty view as well. But it's actually, if we pull away, you'll see it's kind of low to the horizon a little bit. Its actual altitude is only 28 degrees above the horizon, so it won't be as clear as this one. Messier 3 is probably the best bet, so we'll go there next for our one more. Alright, so we have 32 here. We're going to do this. And drop that down. See, you keep these lines apart from each other by as much as you need so that the image looks good. Okay, and then as you get more frames and the stack gets thicker and deeper, well, then you can actually afford to get rid of some of them. I'm sorry, you can afford to close the lines up with each other. My apologies for saying the wrong thing. It is 1 in the morning here, 11 after 1. Hello, Elizabeth Monteith, how are you? Trish Ferrer says, boggles the mind. Oh yeah, it does. It really does. Okay, so this is our image of the galaxy here, and let's just see the full fields and compare the full fields. Okay, so here, if we look at this, this is our full field here. Okay, that's the full field right here. Okay, just about the size of the full moon, 33 arc minutes across. And if we look at our other telescope, that's the size of this full field. Okay, and you can see that the galaxy we're looking at is this one right here. It fills this field practically, makes it really large. Here we actually see, you know, the field all around it. So that's what it's about. Okay, and now let's save this one more time here, and this is 4725. My thanks to Curtis Horn for suggesting it. It's a really beautiful target. And when we get our spectrograph running, we'll be able to take some spectra here as well. That'll be kind of cool. Alright, and now we'll come out of here and go into this. We're buying the LP600 from Shellyak. And by the way, just so you know, Michael Hedrick says he's going to say goodnight. Alright, thanks for coming, man. It's good to have you with us. Alright, let's go here. Let's go to measure 3. This you're going to like. There it goes. You can see the telescope moving. And right now, we are going to go into low light mode, and there it is. So we're going to move this up. Come up, move it up. Come on, move it up. Get them up, move them out. Oh yeah. Globular clusters are interesting because, you know, we look at them, they're among the oldest oldest objects in our galaxy. They're made of stars that are called population 2 stars. What's that mean? It means that they are the original stars that were made when the galaxy was made. Okay, and how do we know that? How could we possibly know that? Well, remember that that spectrograph I'm telling you about that we were getting? That's how we know it, because by looking at the spectra of these stars, we can tell what they're made of. And what we see, they're made of very few elements. Now, what does that mean? It means that our sun, for instance, when it was made 4.6 billion years ago, it was made not only of hydrogen, but of all the other elements that were in the solar nebula that were expelled from other stars that went supernova, made in the hearts of other stars, part of the gas cloud from which we condensed. Okay, so the star has along for the ride tons of other elements in the periodic table. And so when you look at its spectrum, our sun's spectrum is just got tons of these dark bands indicating where outer elements on the outside of the star have extracted some energy from the hot goings-on in the core of the star. And those leave a dark band in the spectrum. It's a very particular place. In our case, we've got many, many, many lines in our spectrum, and it's called the Fraunhofer spectrum for the individual that categorized and saw the spectrum. And so by looking at the spectrum of a star, you can tell what the composition of the original nebula was that made it. And globular clusters, to a letter, are all devoid of elements pretty much heavier than helium. Meaning that hydrogen is fused into helium, helium's fused into carbon, okay, and oxygen, and all the way up to iron for the more massive stars. Supernova blows up and liberates tons more stuff out into the elements out into the interstellar medium. But globular clusters like this don't do that. Okay, globular clusters are very simple stars. They have mostly hydrogen and mostly helium. They don't have a lot of other elements in them. So they were made with, in other words, in their outer envelopes, it's mostly hydrogen. They weren't made with other elements because there were no other elements in the interstellar medium at the time they were made. Okay, let's do a 15-second photo of this guy, because that's all we need. And let's first of all go grab a star to guide on. Sounds like a song. I just need a star to guide on. Okay, we're only going to get one shot here, it looks like. Maybe not. But maybe only this one. Okay, it looks like the only one we're going to get other than these. We'll give it a try. Alright, so 15 seconds. Here we go, underway. We'll drop out of our low light mode and go into our live stack. Now, you saw how many stars you saw there? I think you'll be surprised to find how many more there are. What's this? Look at that. Didn't know there were that many, did you? This, I liken these to exploding snowballs of stars. And it's very, very interesting. Yeah. Hey, Gravy Legs, how are you? Gravy Legs, that's an interesting name. Why does this dude have a tomato light? Is that you wondering why my light's red? You may not know too much about nighttime activity in astronomy, but we tend to use red lights because it doesn't interfere with our vision. So no big deal. Look at this gorgeous cluster, isn't that something? Yeah, let me see if we can zoom in. Wow, look at all those stars. These, you can have a million stars in one of these clusters. And the thing is, if you think about what's going on in this cluster here, you've got all these stars are orbiting each other in this cluster, right? And I think that we're talking about, when you talk about a cluster like this, you're talking about, having, again, hundreds of thousands of stars at the very least, and they end up being in orbit around each other. And if you had to solve the equations for their motion, and if you think about their motion, solving the equation of motion for these stars is solving what's called an n-body problem. Which is the name of a TV series, by the way, that's really quite good, just so you know. Yeah. Hey, Camulus, JB, how are you? Yes, low metallicity, exactly right. Exactly right. Blitzmat, how are you? What effect does dark matter? What effects of dark matter do we see in these clusters? Gravitational lensing? No, we don't. And as far as dark matter goes, there's an idea that maybe globular clusters have a black hole in the middle. Not a supermassive black hole, but just a black hole. So I think that's pretty interesting. In Gravy Legs, I explained to you why we use a red light in astronomy. So you're gonna end up seeing a red light every time you come here. So you might want to just get used to it. Anyway, let me just check something here, because I'm going to check my properties here, make sure we're... Okay. Tell me if this sounds better. Does this sound better? Because if this sounds better, and I might have actually been in the wrong microphone. Freezy Pops, how you doing? Freezy Pops asked a question. He says, if it really takes 100,000 years for photons to reach the surface of a star, does that mean the star is dark for its first 100,000? No, because what's happening is the star
That's actually a very good question. Okay, the star goes through an evolution of its life cycle. So when the star becomes bright, okay, the star ends up doing things like it goes through a phase where it's condensing, then it starts to actually it goes into a protostar phase where that's just prior, and from there it goes to it goes into a phase where it okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just looking at something here. James, thank you for doing that with this Gravy Legs character. Don't know why people do that. Yeah. I don't need to justify myself to you, Mr. Legs. You can be gone, and I can cater to the people that want to see what's going on here instead of you just sitting out there and hurling insults at people. Okay, it's really easy to do that anonymously through the internet, isn't it? Thanks, Freezy Pops. Yeah, no, this so anyway, to try and get back to your question, the star goes through an evolutionary cycle where it becomes a protostar, and so it's giving off light the whole time. All right, because the first thing that happens is it reaches a point in time where there's enough mass over that core to reach about 13 to 15 million Celsius. That's the first step, because then the hydrogen that's in that core can fuse and become helium. So when that happens, now we've reached that first stage. Okay, now the star basically winks on, and we see a bright light come out of that star. All right, now as the star begins to go through its life cycle, it's going to have this envelope around it, and only in the core, which is maybe 20% the size, 15 to 20% of the size of any star. Okay, in that central core, that's the only place where fusion's taking place. All the rest of that stuff on the outside of the star, that's all plasma. It's not doing any fusion. It's just a lot of, and what is plasma? It's just free nuclei and electrons, floating around out there. And some of it gets burst off the star, becomes a coronal mass ejection, and these really highly charged and fast-moving protons and electrons head toward us, and they hit our atmosphere and cause incredible auroras and so forth. It's pretty cool, So now, looking here, look at this beautiful cluster. Look what this has become. Now, this particular cluster, measure 3 that we're looking at here, this one is 32,000 light years away. Okay, actually 32,620 light years away. So this light that you're seeing now came to us 32,600 years ago. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. And these are called halo objects. These globular clusters are orbiting the galaxy, and they go plunging through the disk of the galaxy sometimes and come plunging back up and through the disk, and they can leave behind stars and they can acquire stars. So one of the things I'd like to do is I'd love to do a study of globular clusters and see which stars in these globular clusters may have been stragglers that were picked up during the course of the star's evolution. The cluster's evolution as it's moving through the galaxy. I'd love to see that. So I think it's pretty cool. I really think it's neat. Yeah, I like it. I want to thank the new folks that have come here. Make sure you subscribe if you get a chance, because I really would enjoy having you subscribe, become new folks here. And I would like to extend to you to if you do subscribe, also go check out our Patreon and check out what we do. Check out our Etsy store at Sky Tour Shop, right? And of course, always enjoy our beautiful imagery, which is free, and we give away. I don't mind giving away free stuff. Do you? Nah, you don't. We'll save this image with the annotations as well. And now, I will save it and save it exactly as seen. So this photo, when you go get it, this is what you're going to get. That's on our server. This is free. Go grab it, take it down, enjoy it. You know. So I did want to make a point, and Toner Low, you made the point for me, and I'm going to revisit it because that's an excellent point you've made. And I didn't mention it yet. I've mentioned this before. When you think about the fact that the stars in these clusters have very low metallicity, what's that mean? These stars, okay, all have low content beyond helium in their envelopes and inside. So that means that all they're doing is hydrogen fusion in here. So these guys, all right, again, early stars in the universe, and because of that, there's not a lot of material there to build planets from, are there? So these, as Tonalo points out, and rightly so, these planets that have low compositions of other elements other than hydrogen and helium and maybe some carbon, okay, they probably will not actually actually build planets, because there's not a lot of extraneous gas in here and dust. We don't see a lot of dust at all in the globular cluster. It's just a cluster of stars. So we don't actually see that here. So when you see a globular cluster like this, you think about it as it's a Spartan area, and it has a sparse number of planets, if any at all, inside here. And that's what's neat. Look, I'm holding it up. Hey, you got the whole cluster in my hands. So that said, when we talk about globulars, we talk about these globulars as being rather devoid of planets. Okay, now, if it picked up a star as it went in and out of our galactic disk, well, that's different. Then maybe it could have picked up a star that is capable of actually, having planets. All right. Other than that, guys, things like this tend to be beautiful sights in the universe, and maybe there's a black hole in the center holding them all together. But the fact is, this is it. They are just a cluster of stars. There's not much else going on in here. Now, they're still evolving. They're still going to run out of hydrogen someday, and those are going to evolve into red giants. Some of the stars in here are looking red. Okay, so maybe there are some red giants in here. If this star is in that cluster, maybe it's a red giant. I think perhaps it's a foreground star, and those are back here, but we'd have to see. You consult the Sinbad database. Is Isabella here? Did somebody say hi to Isabella? Where is she? Camulus says, not many O or B type stars either, as they're more short-lived. Yeah, very, very, very good point. Yeah, the O and B stars, I remember the stars in order of O, B, A, F, G, K, M. M as in Mike. Okay. These stars, the O and B stars, are the hottest and bluest. The O stars are. And they're also the shortest lived. O stars last a few million years. Give you an example. Betelgeuse, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Betelgeuse is a red supergiant, right? However, it used to be an O star. It was a bright blue star. Now, when Lucy, 4.2 million years ago, as I mentioned earlier, was an earlier hominid ancestor, was in Olduvai Gorge, if she happened to look up at Orion, she would have seen, then Orion would have been over her head almost, she would have seen that Betelgeuse wasn't a red supergiant, it was a blue star. So it ended up going through its in hydrogen very, very quickly because it's only going to live a few million years, a few 10 million years or so, 15 million years. So it's on a very fast track of it's a fast track of evolution for these O stars, and they always end their lives, always end their existence as supernovae. So Betelgeuse, in the upper left of Orion, is destined to go supernova, and it's going to be a beautiful sight. Why? Because we'll even see it if it's in the daytime sky at that time. Okay, then it's likely and very likely that we'll see it as a second star in the sky. It won't be nearly as bright as the sun, but it'll be many orders of magnitude brighter than Venus at its brightest in the sky. And you can see Venus in the daytime sky now if you know where to look. All right, I used to have classes in astronomy that I used to teach, and I would show people Venus in the daytime sky. And when they saw it, they were like, "Oh!" because you can actually see it with your eye. So anyway, so Betelgeuse shows evolution happening right before our eyes, although it's a slower process than a human lifetime. So Lucy saw a different Orion than we see today, and Betelgeuse being 750 light years away, Betelgeuse will actually, when it goes supernova, will light up our daytime sky, and if it's at night, it'll be a very, very bright star in the nighttime sky, far brighter than Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. And it'll be just an incredible, absolutely incredible sight to behold. Elizabeth, thank you. That's so kind. Wow, I am so pleased. Thank you so much. That's so kind. It's good to see you guys here. Make sure you subscribe, like I said. Check out our Patreon. You can also go to skytourlive.org, and if those of you that feel of a mind to donate to us, as some have done so tonight, you can go there and click donate now and donate to us. We are a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. I make no money at this. I don't take any money. Okay, I do it for the passion. I think you can kind of detect that. I'm really liking it. So anyway, so that's the way that is. Now I see Hein Sherry is here too. Nice to see you, Hein. I haven't seen Isabella. She says, "Hola, Isabella." She might have just been saying it, thinking Isabella was here, but I don't think Isabella's here. I haven't seen her. Freezy Pops says, "Do we see waves of plasma on star surfaces analogous to surface waves of water on the Earth? Or maybe the gravity's too strong and only see smooth ripples?" Interesting question. I'll tell you what we do see. If you look on certain pulsars, which are the remains of a star after it's gone supernova, it's a neutron star with hot spots on it. We do see these hot spots sometimes passing by us like lighthouse beacons. They go shh, 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 as the star goes around. And they go very fast. In the Crab Nebula in Taurus, which was a supernova seen in the daytime sky by Chinese astronomers in 1054 AD. When they saw that supernova was actually a supernova that left behind a pulsar, which was the remains of the star's core. That's a neutron star, all right, and a neutron star is about the size of Manhattan Island. Okay, Manhattan Island. Okay, and it was spinning at that size. It was spinning 33 times. It still is 33 times per second. That's pretty fast. Okay, so at 33 times per second, for something the size of Manhattan Island to be spinning that fast is incredible. And if you think that's fast, it's an amateur compared to the faster pulsars we found. The faster pulsars we found spin over 700 times per second. I know, sounds crazy, but it's true. Now, you can look on YouTube and see these really cool things where people spin a CD at high speed, faster and faster, until it just flies apart because its structure can't hold itself together anymore. Well, you would think that at that speed, a pulsar, a neutron star, couldn't be held together anymore. But the fact is, they're so dense, that if you took a teaspoonful of a neutron star of material and you brought it to Earth, a teaspoonful, it'd be many billions of tons, billions with a B, as in boy, billions of tons in a teaspoon. Okay? So stretch that out to something the size of Manhattan Island, and you can see that you have a highly compact, highly massive object with a huge amount of gravity. And that amount of gravity holds that in a compact ball spinning that fast. Yes, it's true. So that's the interesting thing about the neutron stars and what about your question there, Freezy. So anyway, so let's save this one more time. Okay. And let's save exactly the scene. Okay. Once again, to the mods, thank you so much for managing. As we get more people, you're going to find a few people that step out of line. I want to thank you for taking care of that. Okay, that was very good of you. Thank you so much. Anyway, this will be our last object tonight. I don't want to end. I'm not tired, but I do have to be up early for Easter tomorrow. For those of you that celebrate Easter, happy Easter. For those of you that don't, have a wonderful Sunday. I used to do my radio show on Sundays, and now I do it Wednesday nights from 8 to 10. And then after that, I stream. So Wednesday can be a long night for me. But, my last radio show from 8 to 10 this past Wednesday was a really good one. People really enjoyed it. So, and that's SkyTour Radio. You can find SkyTour Radio at skytourlive.org. You can find SkyTour Livestream on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Trovo, Kick, Facebook, and YouTube, of course. And so if you guys are of a mind, you can check us out on any of those platforms. It's been slow, it's been slow enough for me that I've been able to kind of build it up. But you got to understand, what you see here and what you see over in the other observatory here, these are the labor of love. We built this one out in the desert ourselves. Okay, this one here, the building was there, but we did put the telescope in. We're now sharing a mountain with other astronomers in Benson. And we're going to have the spectroscope on another telescope in this building. And here in Connecticut, we're building a solar observatory. Yeah, I know, it never ends. And that solar observatory, they have the telescope behind me here. It's a solar telescope. It's going to be able to show us the prominences coming off the sun. So we talk about stars, and our sun's a star. So now we'll be able to get up close and personal and see what the stars look like right up close and personal when we study our own star. So that's going to be kind of fun. So I hope you guys had a good time tonight. I know that I'm very grateful for donations. Thank you so much. That was very kind. Do visit us. Check us out, skytourlive.org. Thank you for those that bought t-shirts in our first t-shirt drive. They're really cool. And we have another t-shirt design we're going to be coming out with. We'll be selling those at Contact in the Desert, but if you still want one, we will be getting more of them if we sell all of them out. We may or may not. But you guys have a good night, and we will check you out, another night, all right? So thanks for coming. My voice is shot, but you know something? I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys have a good night, and we will talk soon. Good night, everybody.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new.